per usual. I'm Brendon, and joining me today is my good buddy Sterling. How you doing on this so far phenomenal weekend?
So far so good. I had the last week off work too, so nice and relaxed. Had some good times, chilled a bunch. But yeah, gorgeous weather yesterday, today. Um, Missing football.
Yep,
I want,
yep.
I'm ready for, at the very least, I'm ready for the NCAA football game to come out so I can start playing that.
Yeah. I read a tweet this week that was definitely meant as a joke, but I think it resonates so much with the proper football people like us, where it
Yep.
says, I would be all for a really shitty Thursday night football game.
Yeah.
And when I first read that, I was like, you know what? We really do take those games for granted. Like again,
Yeah.
it feels like almost it's either every week or every other week we're like, wow, this Thursday night football game sucks.
Yeah.
But now we're at this time of the year, we're just like we would do a lot of very, very dirty, naughty things
Right.
to just have that back here at the
Yeah.
moment. And
Yeah. Give me a Titans Broncos Thursday nighter.
yeah,
I'm all for it.
hell, give me a Cardinals versus Commanders game right now.
Right.
Like, uh, uh, give me a Panthers versus Patriots game.
Yeah.
Like, not talking about all the additions that they gave us this offseason, like what we saw from last year, just those teams, those coaching staffs. Give me that game right now, and I'm pretty sure I would be happy as a clam.
Yeah.
Happy, happy man.
Well, very much so. But yeah, like we're in that dead zone now, and so we're going to be doing some talks about, fantasy football prep stuff. I think we have planned a couple of other, top, selections at different positions throughout the league as well, here and there, that we might be doing. But there'll be some fun stuff. So we're going to try our best to keep it going right through to July when OTAs and training camp start.
Oh yeah, and you also mentioned it, the NCAA game as well.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously the big news this week was the cover that they released, and I know people are gonna, if you're not necessarily like a gamer, a sports gamer, because that's really what we are. We're sports gamers. That's
Yeah.
one of the biggest game genres that you and I typically play. But to have a game that hasn't been around for, at this point it will be 11 years, 10, 11, it's in double digit years.
Yeah, I think this is the 10-year mark.
Yeah, the fact that we
Yeah.
haven't had a college football game in 10 years
Hmm.
is just a travesty of its own. And the backstory behind why we don't have it is simply because players weren't being paid, and what, their names were being used in the game, their likeness was being used in the games, and they weren't financially given the opportunity to benefit off of that. And I completely understand why it was away, but now that we have NIL,
Hmm.
these games really want to come back. And the fact that I think you and I are both in full agreement that the last true good football game was NCAA 14.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, and it's almost like while EA was still making the NCAA games, they were almost competing with themselves. So the quality level for Madden wasn't as terrible at that point. Still, it was going downhill.
Yep.
But then after NCAA went away, it just fell off a cliff, and it's gotten worse and worse every year. And then they introduced the Mutt series, and
I
it
think that
completely
Madden
destroyed the game.
25, because that was the year Madden 25 came out.
Yeah.
And that was if it wasn't the first year, it was the second year of Mutt. And I remember at the time going like, this is a slippery slope of
Hmm.
having to get people to basically pay for cards in a game. And the more money that you have, like, I remember a buddy of mine, he would do the equivalent for NHL, not for Madden,
Hmm.
but like the NHL games. And I
Yep.
looked at him and I was like, why are you spending $50 a month on cards? He's like, well, I want my players to be better. I'm like, but it's, are you like, is this all going to carry over next year? No.
No.
Well, then you're spending
Yeah.
like hundreds of dollars on something that isn't going to be there. And you and I have always had the discussion of Mutt. I have been of the opinion
Mm.
of, if EA wants to truly say sorry to all of its fan base, they have to remove that function from the game or completely take it out of Madden and make it its own separate game.
Or at the very least, actually do an overhaul of the franchise system so that those of us who don't play MUT can still get a better quality version. We were renting last week because we were getting ready to start a new Madden series, and I believe we mentioned it'd be awesome if we could play on the same team.
Yep.
One of us a coach, one of us an owner, or one of us a player, or whatever it is.
One
And
of us
on
an
MUT,
offensive coordinator, defensive
right?
coordinator.
With MUT, you can play on the same team together, and you can do stuff online that way. With franchise mode, it doesn't let you, and it just blows my mind because it would be so much easier to program into a franchise mode because it's just the same two IPs, the same two people every single round
Yep.
playing the game together.
Yep.
Whereas with MUT, it's got to matchmake and do all this other shit every time, and it just infuriates us.
Well,
Like,
and the other big thing that why you and I particularly are so excited for the NCAA games is, well, there's multiple, and we'll jump into that, is that everything that you've heard from the developers, because I know you and I both had this worry, is that it was just going to be simply a Madden clone with NCAA schools in it. And
yeah,
that really was the worry. But
no,
every
it is perfect.
every dev that I've heard talk about this game, they've gone, we are completely separate from the Madden team. We are not building. The only thing that is similar is the engine. And I go, that's still not necessarily great.
Yeah,
But at the same point, if they are coming out and going, it is a completely different game to Madden, the only similar thing is the actual engine it plays on. Because you can do a ton with one single engine. You and I are both in agreement that this Frost engine that they're using, it's meant for shooters, it's meant for
yeah.
first person, it's not meant for sports. Like,
No, it's RNG based, which isn't good for sports, which should be more of a stat based setup, but it
exactly.
just
I
doesn't work.
shouldn't have to roll a dice and hope I hit a nat 20 to get,
Yeah,
an interception of where my 99 overall corner with perfect catching gets it.
yeah. Or
And
to not throw an interception even.
yeah, and
Yeah,
to have a linebacker standing there and you throw, a touch pass or a lob pass over top of him and he jumps 10 feet in the air, you're like, okay, I didn't realize he got the spring power up.
yeah,
But the other big reason why we're so excited for the NCAA games is because the story that you yourself as the gamer get to build.
yeah,
Because you and I, we always talk about how we are never going to choose like the Alabamas, like the Ohio States. Our good buddy Will, him and I were talking about this the other day, and I asked him, I said, who are you gonna choose? He said, I'm gonna choose the University of Washington. And I
yeah.
kind of looked at him at that point and I was like, you're one of those. And he's like,
Well, to defend him, I don't say I'll never choose those schools. I will find ways to make those difficult for me.
oh yeah.
But yeah, there's times when I will do a full, NCAA franchise with like Oklahoma or Texas just for the fun of it. Um, but yeah, we much more enjoy the difficult side of it, taking those bottom feeder schools and building them up. And that's one of the reasons I disliked them getting rid of the NCAA series. I understand the students weren't being paid and stuff like that, but for guys like you and I, we didn't really care about the names that were
Yep.
going to those schools. We didn't care about who was on those teams in year 1 through year 4, which usually a player's only going to be there for 4, maybe 5 years tops if he gets that red shirt. And so for us, it was more about the auto-generated random names. So it was nobodies that we were playing with that we were creating our own storylines for. And so that was what disappointed me. I would have just been like, fine, we'll just keep making the game, but it's going to be auto-generated players from year 1. We're not even going to use any players that are actually playing in the league. But
Yeah.
EA was like, no, we can't make money that way for some reason.
Well, I think it also had something to do with, the school's licensing as well. I know that was another big topic with these particular games, because I know for a while Notre Dame was kind of like one of the last big schools that was kind of like sitting back and maybe not necessarily signing up for the game. So I know that was definitely a hurdle, but yeah, like if they continue to make that game and to go down that route and just every single year, it's okay. We know Alabama is a 6-star school. So we're
Yep.
just going to have it generate a 6-star team. It's not going to be the same for everyone. Like I might have a quarterback that is an 89 overall, he's a sophomore. And then you jump into that same mode and you might have a 95 overall senior as your
Yep.
starting quarterback. And for us, that was one of the things that we always looked at and said we would prefer that. And even when it comes to Madden for us, I know you like to do like the first year draft class of like the 2024 class, but then after that, I know for a fact that I prefer to just always have just the auto class,
Random.
whatever it does, because like I miss that storytelling and being able to look at a guy and going, this I took this guy in the third round and he turned out to be the best player in the entire draft, and building that. Or it was like a Tom Brady type situation. And again,
Mhm.
I know if you're not necessarily a gamer, it might just sound foolish, but these are the things that we really enjoy.
And I mean, I think anybody who's a gamer, even if you're not a sports gamer, you'll understand that. Even for the cozy gamers, people who play things like The Sims, for example, they do the same thing. You create Sims, you create a neighborhood, you create these stories yourself as you're going along. And it happens in all games. It's just for those of us who are sports gamers, we do it a little differently, just because it's sports based. So we're doing the same thing, coming up with our own storylines. A guy gets hurt and we just auto retire him because it was such a bad injury, or all kinds of things. It's the fun that we have with the game. And unfortunately, EA has been taking that out the last few versions of Madden, because they've been focusing so hard on MUT that the realism and the getting lost in the game is so much more difficult on franchise mode, because it's so broken. The logic in it is so broken. Even doing the first year drafts like we've got set up and stuff. The number of times we've done it and Caleb Williams did not go number 1 to the Bears, even after trading Justin Fields away from the team. Sometimes he wasn't going there. They were still taking Marvin Harrison, and it was
it
so
was
mind-boggling.
it was terrible logic. And
Yes.
for years and years and years, I always asked Madden to update the scouting because it was just mind-numbingly easy from what we do. It was you have a
Yeah.
set amount of points every week, and you just click a button. 1, 2, 3. I know exactly what this guy is. I know what round he's going in. I know basically what it is. It's like, okay, like when that initially was brought in, there was some strategy to it, but the fact that you could go through pretty much the first like 6 rounds of the draft and basically have all of those guys fully scouted and know exactly what they're going to do, it kind of took a little bit of the realism out. And I asked for years and years and years, especially
Mhm.
when I started to get into the scouting world and I took courses to become a scout and do all this type of stuff. I was like, there's just so much more that they could do. And when they finally moved it over, it was like, okay, this is better, but it's somehow worse, because if you want to just get one player properly scouted, you have to have your 3-star scout scouting him, you have to have your two star scout scouting him at that position, and then you likely have to do those recruiting things to also get some of the other guys that are like a 75% just to properly know what round they're going in.
Yeah.
And I've been playing the MLB games recently, the new one, and I love their scouting system. You have your scouts, you hire them, you have a budget for them, they have expertise, and then you essentially go into position by position, or areas of where you can go into, and you say you are going to scout this prospect for this week. And
Yeah.
depending on age and such, it might take a little bit longer, it might only take a week, but then it gives you their potential and what their potential rating is going to be, and kind of given that, I sit back and go, to me that is one of the most fun scouting systems that I have. And if they were to just move that into Madden, that would be a lot better. I still would love to see them add stats from what your players are going to be. The fact that NHL show that where they have over like 1,500 players that you could potentially draft in every single draft, and they have stats for every single one of those players. How can you not do that for 500 NFL
right?
prospects?
Oh, exactly, and NHL to Madden, it's those are both EA, so I don't understand how they can't get it done. At least
Yeah,
with MLB, I'm pretty sure that is a Sony-based
yeah,
game,
yeah.
not EA, and so completely different developers and creators. But yeah, it's just so frustrating with Madden. Every year, it's like they take tiny little baby steps forward while removing good aspects of the game that they can then 10 years later put in and go, look, it's a quality of life improvement. And it's like, no, motherfucker, that was there 15 years ago. You took it away from us.
The fact that they basically said when they put in like the training drills back
Hmm.
into Madden 24, this is something that you and I looked at and we're like, yeah, about time you put this back in. They're like, oh, we're bringing back this retro feature. We're like, it's not retro. You should have just kept it in the goddamn game. Like, no
Yep.
one wanted this to go.
Yep. Oh, there's uncounted features that they keep taking out that we both would love to still be in the game, but that's what they do so that they don't have to create new ideas and come up with new things. They just remove things from each year, and then 3, 4, 5 years later they put it back in going, this is a new feature, and it's a piss off. And so I am still skeptical and worried about NCAA
Yep,
because I'm
me too.
sure there's some way there's going to be some kind of a mutt mode.
Well,
I can just feel
they've
it.
already stated that it's going to be in the game, but
Yep.
my big thing with this is that the team that is working on the NCAA game, they've had people that used to work on NCAA games
Mhm.
beforehand, and they're a completely separate thing from the Madden team. To me, that is the only reason why I'm giving it hope of going. They know they're gonna have Mutt in this because EA is gonna
Yeah.
say you have to, and I think most people like the people would want to have that mode in there because I know there are ultimate
Mhm.
team fans that are going to want to play the game. They would be upset, but it's one of those things where I think they just know that if this fails, that they will never be able to do anything.
Well, I hope they know that, but my concern is, yes, it's a different team from what makes Madden, but it's still under that
Yeah,
EA umbrella.
yeah,
And that's just it. Every year, the Madden team comes out and goes, "Oh, we got these great improvements. This is going to be better. This is going to be better." And then you get the game and you go, "It's broken still."
yep,
And that's where my concern lies because and they don't have to worry about whether they get review bombed or anything like that because they're gonna make enough money off of this that EA is gonna go, "Oh yeah, we'll do another one next year."
yeah.
Guaranteed. Because there's so much hype for it. They're going to sell so many copies. They're easily going to make what they need to in order to have a follow up game. And so
Without a
that
doubt.
doesn't worry me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, again, I know for a fact I'm going to be getting a day one just because it's been so long that we've had since we've had a college football game.
Yeah.
Like, I still have my Xbox 360. Like, the fact that the 360 came out back in like the mid 2000s,
Yeah.
like, I still have that solely because I can go back and play NCAA 14 because that's the only thing that I ever had it on. And like, it's just so like it's been so long coming that it's just like, okay, like I
Yeah.
just need this.
Yeah. No,
um
I get what you're saying. I just have the concern still just because
oh,
Madden.
you and me both, you and me
Yeah.
both, like the
Because
whenever it's
I
going to be
was.
EA.
I was a yearly Madden purchaser for many years until probably about 17.
20, yeah,
Yeah. And that's when I decided I'm done with this bullshit. The game comes out broken every year. They don't fix enough of it. They're focusing too much on microtransactions. And from that point, it's just been like, well, if I can get it for $20, I'll buy it. But the game being so broken isn't worth more than an like a beta level, you know, practice game. It doesn't
yeah.
deserve to have AAA prices on it, in my opinion.
Well, like most people know at this point, whenever I'm playing Madden, I'm not actually even playing the actual game. I'm just simply stating, like, I'm a general manager. That's
Yeah,
all I am in this. There's no point in actually playing the game because, for instance, when you're doing something on offense, the fact that I can have the ball glitch through my player's hand when I'm
yeah,
doing a toss play and it results in a fumble, it's like why? Like
yeah, yeah. Because you rolled a nat one when you
I
hit the toss button. Yeah,
like it would be a different story, for instance, if my quarterback tosses the ball and you see the ball go to my running back and you see him fumbling with it, that type of situation, and he fumbles, because you see that in real life. But what you
yep,
don't see is him with his hands out like this and the ball just goes straight through it, and it's, well, the football technically touched your player, so it's a fumble. And
yeah,
it's like, no, like if he's gonna fumble it on the toss, you see that, that's fine, no issues with that. But you don't force it through his body and try to call that a situation. And at least with the general manager mode, it's like, there's no way that it can technically screw me. Like, it might be a little bit annoying from times to time seeing your 90 overall team be beat by a 78, but hey, that stuff happens in real life too.
mhm,
So yeah,
yeah.
for me it's just,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll be good. I don't know if I'm gonna be buying it day one, but I will be getting that new NCAA for sure.
Oh
Just because for me, I think 12 was the last one I had even.
yeah, so even farther back for you.
Yeah.
um Obviously, moving away now from the video game side of things, rookie minicaps from most teams have kicked off. And
Yep.
you know I always look at rookie mini camps and like the first week of training camps as kind of essentially like pro days. You're watching teams where players are, for instance, there was a clip yesterday that I saw of Michael Penix Jr. throwing the ball, and people were like, oh my goodness, like, get ready, Falcons fans. It's like, guys, he's standing there. He didn't even
Yeah.
do like a 5-step drop. He did a 2-step drop. He just casually lobbed it. Like, right now I have Twitter open and they're showing Caleb Williams throwing passes,
Mhm.
and like it's like I'm excited about Caleb Williams, but I'm looking at this going like, wow, he can throw the ball without pressure coming at him. All of this
Yeah.
stuff means nothing.
No. No, it really doesn't. It's just a way to get the guys in the facility, get everybody on the same page, let everybody meet all the trainers and everything else that you're gonna have to be interacting with all season long. So yeah, Falcons fans get ready. Like for what? To watch him sit on the bench?
Yeah.
You're still paying another quarterback $100 million. Like Michael Penix is not starting unless somebody breaks Kirk Cousins' leg.
And even like, and I know one of the justifications a lot of Falcons fans have been kind of rationalized around this pick is, well, if Cousins gets hurt, at least we have him. It's like, sure, like
Yeah,
you can dream about that, but you're still paying Kirk Cousins $100 million
yeah,
to be on your team and hurt.
yeah.
Like,
So why would you be hoping for that?
exactly.
Yeah, makes no sense.
It would be like me going, I hope Caleb Williams doesn't do good this year, because then we can have another shot at getting a really high up draft pick. It'd be like,
Yeah,
well, like, what's the point of that? Like, of
no,
course, I want to have a high draft pick to get some of the best talent in the draft, but that means my team is bad, and I don't want to see my team be bad anymore. We've done it for
right?
20 fucking years.
Yeah, I'd rather win a Super Bowl than pick first overall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
every year.
and I mean, yeah, like that justification from Falcons fans, I'm like, I know you guys are just living through your trauma right now and you're trying to justify it,
Right?
but like,
They're drinking the Kool-Aid down in Georgia.
I'm sure it's not just Kool-Aid. I'm sure it has
Yep,
probably a lot of moonshine in it. And I'm not saying that because
probably.
it's a South joke. I'm just saying
Yes.
they need to put some malt liquor in that just to make it tolerable. Uh, but we are obviously in the time of not a lot of news. One of the pieces of news that I heard this week is former NFLer Buster Screen, um, corner, played for a
Yeah.
handful of teams. I know he played for the Bears for maybe a season, maybe two, but now he's being investigated by police up here in good old Canada.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
So some more fun football news. Trying to think of other stuff that kind of happened throughout the
I
week.
I did hear that some news is coming out about Rashi Rice having some disciplinary issues in college, which could result in the suspension from the NFL actually becoming longer
Yep.
because he's had a history of
That's
problems
that's what
now.
it was. It was something with
Yeah.
Rashid Rice. I'm pretty sure he punched a photographer this week as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he did do that this week as well. And I mean, he hit somebody after that car crash as well, shoved them out of the way like it. He's definitely making a case for I won a Super Bowl, now I want to be unemployed.
He's trying to make it to jail faster than what Henry Ruggs did.
Yeah. Yeah, he's speed running the rugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people might say that that joke's in terrible taste, but it's very clear this guy, was street racing, hit
Hmm.
someone, hurt someone. I don't think any fatalities were part of that crash, thank God,
No.
but people were hurt. And then, he's
That nice
punching a
car was destroyed.
yeah, but eh, that's a whole, when you're doing stupid stuff like that, I don't really care about your fancy sports car when you crash it.
It wasn't even his. He rented it. It was a rental.
Jesus. But
Exactly.
even then it's one of those things where I'm like, it's like
Dumb
if
shit.
you, yeah, like, and then you're punching a photographer. Like, the dude walked into a team where he had an absolute gold mine. You had
Yep.
Andy Reid, who is one of, I'll say it. He's the best offensive mind that has ever been in the entire NFL. Like, he is without a doubt.
Yep.
We have seen it time in, time again, of just him being able to have one of the best offenses with different players. Like the fact that he had Michael Vick at one point, then he went to Alex Smith, who, let's be honest here, is a very different player to Michael Vick. They were
Yep.
still able to succeed, and then he went from Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes, who, again, very different player to Alex Smith. And but like he walked, like Rashid Rice walked into Andy Reid. He had Travis Kelsey there, who was always going to be the number one weapon, and he had Patrick Mahomes throwing him the football, and the amount of help that he knew he was going to get throughout the offseason. It's like,
Yep.
bro, you had the literal lottery. Like, you found a lottery ticket with $1 billion on it, and you just said, I'm gonna just burn this.
Yeah, I'm gonna use this for kindling, start a big old bonfire.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll my joint up in this.
Yeah.
Like, there's no words.
Right?
There's just,
What can you say? Like doing dumb shit, and he's gonna win some stupid prizes.
yep, yep, that he is. And uh, I know we always question the NFL and their suspension logic, because it almost feels like it's kind of made up week to week about like what's going to happen with certain stuff. Like, I'm very intrigued to see what all this is going to be, because like he has to have something coming his way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, I can't imagine he's just gonna be walking out and being like, "Okay, you're gonna be slapped with a $50,000 fine, and we're gonna look at you and go, no, 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 bad
No.
boy, you no do that again." Comedy Central, or not Comedy Central roast, but the roast of Tom Brady was
Yep.
fantastic last week. That
Yeah. Well,
was,
did you end up watching it?
I haven't actually seen the entire thing, but I've seen pretty much the majority of clips. Have you seen the whole thing?
Yeah, I did watch it.
Yeah. So who
Yeah.
who do you think you would say was the best roaster in that?
Um, Probably Nikki Glazer, honestly.
That's
She
what
was
I've heard.
fucking hilarious.
The jokes
She
that I heard her say were pretty goddamn good.
right, she ripped into all of them and oh god. Yeah, that was probably the best one that was there, honestly.
One of the jokes that
Gronk
I heard,
wasn't too bad either. He was pretty amusing.
yeah. One of the best jokes I heard from Nikki Glazer, she said, "My boyfriend's here. I'm, deeply in love with him and blah blah blah. We've been together for years, but I would murder him, like shoot him in the face for a lottery ticket to potentially suck the dick of that man," while she points at Tom Brady. I was like, "Damn, that's a pretty goddamn good joke.
Right?
That's a pretty goddamn good joke right there. The
Yeah.
fact that she can basically just make fun of herself of like going essentially making fun of him, but go like, let's be honest here, it's Tom fucking Brady. Of course, I would suck his dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah,
Yeah. Unfortunately, there was a lot of cringe as well. There were some people that had the mic that should not have. It was entertaining once Bill Belichick arrived and they started going after him,
yep.
and you could tell he was really uncomfortable with it. So I
I
enjoyed
loved
that as well.
the Julian Edelman joke where he's like
Yeah.
the only fucking offer that you're gonna get is the whatever high school it was, and
Yep.
like even Bill, he was like, okay, like that was like I thought from the clips that I saw of Bill when he was being roasted, it seemed
Yep.
like he was being a pretty good sport about it and he was really enjoying it. So
He was. There were just a few that I don't think he didn't like too much.
yeah,
Yeah, and then there were others like I don't know why they gave Dana White a microphone. He wasn't funny. He's not funny. It was
the
pretty
the
lame.
the one clip that I saw from him
Yeah,
was it was yeah, he said a joke about Tom, and then he said, "My name's Dana." Like it, like the liberal media, like how it was something
right.
trans related.
Yeah,
I was like it just felt really out of place.
it was that was him all over. He was just awkward, uncomfortable, and weird. Like just stop giving that guy a microphone, please.
Yeah,
Um, Another funny one was near the end. They had Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft do a shot together. Robert Kraft completely missed his fucking mouth, just shot all down the front of his face in his suit, and I was like, "Oh my god, that old man is sloshed."
I loved
And Tom
when
Brady the whole night was double fisting drinks.
oh, he was double fisting tequila all
Yeah,
night long, and I think Kill Tony would I that's the only thing that I actually know from him, where he
yeah,
basically was sitting beside Dana White. He basically just walked up and he just like that 2 minute clip was
yes,
probably one of the best things that I heard from that entire thing, because he just went
yeah,
down the line like boop 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 boop, and it was just he was absolutely killing it, and
yeah.
I was like, I want to hear more of that.
Right. Even Kevin Hart got up after that and was like, I can't. I want
Like,
to
how do you
defend
follow
people.
that?
I want to come back at that, but I can't. I was just too fucking good.
The amount of Aaron Hernandez jokes that were out there, like
Yeah,
Julian Edelman's joke in that was so goddamn good. All the people ask me how big Gronk's dick is. Listen, it
yeah,
gets the job done. But there was this other Patriots tight end. Now he was hung. Now,
yeah,
if you don't know who Aaron Hernandez is, take 5 minutes of googling, and but I think the funniest thing about that entire situation is the Hernandez, his fiance,
yeah.
before he died, his, when he was still alive, his fiance, she came out and stated that the jokes towards Hernandez were in really poor taste, and she wants the kids that like she wants
Mhm.
his kids to never watch this, and it was really damaging because of the reputation. She basically said, I want my kids to remember their dad for the good man that he was. And I'm just sitting back like, I'm sorry. Like, all the jokes that everyone made at Aaron Hernandez's expense were not really damaging his reputation. The dude casually killed 4 people.
Right.
Like,
Like, yeah, a few jokes are not going to be worse for his reputation than the fact that he was a murderer.
yeah, yeah.
Like, sorry,
Like,
but
if your kids, if you are telling your kids that their father, who murdered 4 people, which I think technically classifies him as a mass murderer,
Yeah.
We're not going to get into semantics over wordage and verbiage, but it's like if you're basically lying to your kids, going, your father was such a terrific man, like all these jokes is just ruining his reputation. Again, like I said, 5 minutes of googling Aaron Hernandez,
Hmm.
it won't take you long to realize he was kind of a shitty fucking person.
No.
And like I just went out, like I read that, I started laughing. I was like, come on. Like uh, like really?
Yeah.
It's kind of like making jokes about Jeffrey Epstein. And it's like, oh, he's dead though, like he was murdered. It's like or suppose, like whatever, we're
Yeah.
not gonna jump, but it's like, I don't know, maybe the whole sex trafficking of kids thing and me saying some jokes about it isn't probably damaging his reputation. Same thing with Hernandez.
Yeah.
like yeah.
Like I'm surprised she even watched it to know about it, to be honest. So
Yeah, she must have gotten a bunch of clips from it.
must have, yeah.
Yeah. The one person that I'm actually kind of surprised and maybe a little bit annoyed that I didn't see for that was Antonio Brown. I would have loved to see him on that because it
Mm.
it it would
He
have been
can't be
interesting.
trusted.
He can't
But
be.
he can't be trusted. And this was a Netflix live event,
Yeah.
so it was being broadcast live originally. I hear that a bunch of stuff has been cut out already as
Oh
well
yeah.
since. So, but Antonio, he just can't be trusted. He's like the Chevy Chase of the NFL world. You cannot put him on a live microphone because you don't know what's going to come out of his mouth,
True.
right? Like even Jeff Ross a couple of times was towing the line. Like Tom Brady got
Got
up and
up.
went over to him at one point and was like, "Don't make that joke again about Robert Kraft getting massages or something."
Well, it was the joke was is that he basically he was making fun of the all-time line when Tom Brady got drafted. He went up to
Yeah,
Robert Kraft and said, "I'm the best decision that this organization will ever make." And like that line has gone down infamous or
yeah,
infamy or whatever the word is. And Ross basically goes, he says that and he goes, but then pauses. He goes, "Okay, now let me give you a massage."
yeah,
And then Tom Brady goes up there and goes, "Don't you ever fucking say that again." I like one of the things that I heard people say about that is they were going, like, it was actually Brady going up to Ross saying like, "Don't actually fucking say that out loud because, he has hitmen that he can probably
yeah,
just send and go kill you. So maybe like I'm trying to save your life here." So
yeah.
like yeah, but
No, exactly. Kraft was sort of the only one where they were like, "Yeah, maybe don't go after him." He's got more money than all of us in here combined.
yeah,
But yeah, one of the big cuts that I heard got made was when Kim Kardashian, another one that I didn't understand why she was even there roasting.
yeah,
Um, she goes up on stage and just boos from everywhere, just full. It was like Roger Goodell was getting up on stage. They completely cut that out. So it's
really,
just her. Yeah, it's just her coming up on stage. They've cut the audience noise out, and then she starts her stuff. So you don't hear them booing her anymore.
my question to this is why they were booing Kim Kardashian. Like, I know
I mean,
that
there's a lot of people that don't like the Kardashians, period.
oh, I'm one of them. I don't really care about what they do and their
Yeah.
show, but they're also not really doing anything that's affecting much of my life, to be honest. But like I just kind of look at when I saw that and they were booing her, I was like
Maybe it was
why?
a boo, why are you even here situation.
Maybe,
Because
but
that
there was
it
a
confused
lot
me
of
why she was even up there. It's like being there in the crowd, getting roasted a little bit, that makes sense.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
she's, famous, she would be there for that. But why she's up on stage, like, mm,
Maybe if this was the Pete of or the roast of like Pete Davidson, I can understand why she's up there
yeah,
roasting him. But like, did she have something to like? Were her and Tom a thing
I
for a
think there
while?
was rumors about it shortly after him and Giselle divorced. I do believe there were some rumors of Tom Brady and Kim Kardashian, so maybe that's what it was. But either way, she wasn't funny. It was 7 minutes that we could have better spent with a better comedian. But what
Yeah,
can you do?
uh,
The
eye
fact that
candy, maybe.
they closed it out with Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning is fucking
Oh,
hilarious. I
he's
love
easily
it.
one of the funniest NFL players to ever
Yeah,
exist.
yeah. The fact that they brought him out as the final roaster before letting Tom Brady clap back, that was a good decision.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love the joke where he was talking about, like, I didn't know if I was even really gonna do this because, when we talk about the roast of Tom Brady, that's just every Thanksgiving at the Manning family, and it's my
yeah.
kid gets up and goes, "Hey, I need to go take a Brady." Like, it's just this is not the first time Peyton Manning has ever been on a roast as
Nope.
well. Like, he was on the roast of, I think it was Rob Lowe, or
Charlie Sheen, maybe.
no, he wasn't on
No,
Charlie Sheen. It
no.
was
But he has been on roasts before. I do
yeah.
recall that. Yeah,
One of my favorite comedians has an amazing joke about him. Jimmy Carr, he's a British comedian, and
yeah,
he's one of these guys that's like a one-liner type guy, and he basically walks up there and he goes, "I don't know much about American football, but I heard Tom Brady is one of the top three quarterbacks in his family." So, he gets the crowd a little bit looser, and
yeah,
even Peyton is looking at that. He's laughing. He's like, okay, like that's a pretty funny joke, like from a guy that knows nothing about this sport. And then he
yeah,
just goes, or Peyton Manning is what a kid with Down syndrome, or he's a kid with Down
yeah,
syndrome who wished he was big. And you can
yeah,
just see the entire crowd just abrupt into laughter. And even Peyton, he's like he can't contain himself. He's pissing himself laughing because like that was a great joke, and I'm not doing it justification, but it is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, that Netflix, they knocked that one out of the park.
yeah. I feel like this was sort of a test for them because I haven't seen much Netflix live yet. I think this was one of the only the second or third one they've done.
Yep.
And I feel like they're sort of working out the kinks because
They're doing testing stuff.
they want Tyson Paul to go off without a hitch. I think that is their hope in July. Is that big fight between Mike Tyson and is it Jake Paul?
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they really want that to go off without hitch. So I think that's part of what this was, testing it out with some risque stuff to see how much they can get away with without too much, outrage from the boomers.
And I think, well, I know for a fact Netflix is trying to become more of like a live streaming platform at
Mhm.
this point. I know they bought the rights to like Monday Night Raw or like
Yeah,
something with wrestling. I know for a while they were trying to do something with football and Formula One. I'm pretty sure they straight up tried to acquire the rights to broadcast it.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, like that type of stuff, that might be enough to get me interested in actually picking back Netflix up, because again, for a while, but even then, probably not.
yeah,
But yeah, it very very good event. I think some of these high up sports guys are some of the really really good people to roast, because again, Tom Brady, he's one of the most competitive guys out there. Like, even after that roast, it was almost like he was ready to jump back out there on the field and go like, hey, I'll just casually, I took a year off, now
yep,
everyone forgot about me, we did the roast, I'm coming back, my ego got a little bit hit, I'm just gonna go win my 8th Super Bowl or 9th Super Bowl, however many he has at this point. And yeah, it would be hilarious to see him do it. But
yeah. I mean, there even before this roast, there were rumors that
he was
and
going to go play for
speculation
the
that maybe he
Raiders.
was going to come out of retirement. Yeah, I still think that would be a conflict. I think a lot of team owners would veto that if he tried to come out and play for the Raiders, since he's a part owner of the Raiders.
Yeah, I feel like he would have to sell his,
Yeah,
like he would have to completely give all of that up. But even then, like I truly think Tom Brady's retired. I think he's done. I think
I do too.
he's focusing all of his energy onto his broadcasting
Well,
career, which
I was gonna say Fox has already paid him a shit ton of money to
it's like
be.
$350 million, more than he
Yep,
ever made in his playing career for 10
yep,
years. But yeah, like I think a lot of these sports guys, like I would love to see a roast of Tiger Woods.
yeah.
I
That would be
like
a good one for sure.
because Tiger Woods is such an iconic figure in not just in the world of sports or in the
Yep.
world of golf, but the world of sports, because some of the stuff that happened in like the late 2000s with him and the cheating scandal, and then him making his return back to the sport, and then the car crash, and then him coming back and winning the Masters. I think
Yep.
Tiger would be a great guy to do it. It would be really funny to see that happen, but if we'll just have to kind of see what this all comes with.
Right. Wait and see if this intrigued enough other athletes that they're willing to give it a go. I feel like we need to like it needs to be the older guys, the guys who are near retirement or already retired that had big careers. Like there's a few big NBA stars I'd love to see get up there as well. Like a roast of Charles Barkley or Shaq would be amazing.
I know Shaq has been on a couple of roasts before, so I think he would be the perfect guy to roast,
Yeah.
because there everyone already basically makes fun of him anyway, so we know that he can take a joke. But
Yeah.
yeah, a bunch of those guys as well. Um, yeah, it really cool event that it basically got announced around the draft,
Yep.
and I almost kind of forgot about it once the draft weekend was over. But like once it came back up again and I started seeing all the clips, I was like, damn, I wish I kind of had Netflix for a day just to have
Yeah.
watched that live. But yeah, really, really cool event, and well done. I wish they wouldn't have edited stuff from the live event and just keep it real and keep it raw.
Or at least not stuff like that where booing Kim Kardashian didn't have an effect on the quality level of the show. I'd be all for cutting out Dana White's entire bit because it was lame. And there were a couple other comedians, well, not even comedians, but a couple other people that got up there, and it was just they weren't funny. It was just uncomfortable,
Mm.
And it's like I'm not here for an uncomfortable roast. I'm here for a funny roast.
Yeah,
Like
I heard like Bert Kreischer and why am I forgetting the
oh yeah, his partner there, yeah.
yeah, like I heard that was just a really shitty one. It was basically just like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, theirs wasn't great, but it also wasn't cringy. For them, having them there was excellent just for the fact that every roaster had an extra target. And
Mm,
Bert Crusher loves being made fun of. And so they were able to go after him hard with a lot of the jokes, and he just loved it the whole time. So
yeah.
that was good to have. But really, it was the roast of Tom Brady, but the biggest jokes landing were all at Gronkowski's expense, and they were so good.
The Nikki Glazer one where
That was the best joke in the entire show, in my opinion.